Hello again, family. This is day 9 of our Reading the Bible Together in a Year series. Today we're covering Genesis chapters 29 through 31, verse 21, so we won't be finishing the whole chapter today. But where we are in the story is that Jacob is on his way to Abraham's homeland, Padan Aram, to get a wife for himself. And we left off with him being in Bethel, where he saw the vision of the ladder ascending to heaven and angels going up and down on it. And he named that place Bethel, which means house of God. But let's see where it goes today.
Then Jacob went on his journey till he came to the land of the children of the east. And there he saw a water hole in the field, and by the side of it 3 flocks of sheep, for there they got water for the sheep. And on the mouth of the water hole there was a great stone. And all the flocks would come together there, and when the stone had been rolled away, they would give the sheep water, and put the stone back again in its place on the mouth of the water hole. Then Yaakov said to the herdsmen, My brothers, where do you come from? And they said, From Haran. And he said to them, Have you any knowledge of Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We have. And he said to them, Is he well? And they said, He is well, and here is Rachel his daughter coming with the sheep. Then Yaakov said, The sun is still high, and it is not time to get the cattle together. Get water for the sheep, and go and give them their food. And they said, We are not able to do so till all the flocks have come together, and the stone has been rolled away from the mouth of the water hole. Then we will get water for the sheep. While he was still talking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she took care of them. Then when Yaakov saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, coming with Laban's sheep, he came near, and rolling the stone away from the mouth of the hole, he got water for Laban's flock. And weeping for joy, Yaakov gave Rachel a kiss. And Rachel, hearing from Yaakov that he was her father's relation, and that he was the son of Rivkah, went running to give her father news of it. And Laban, hearing the news of Jacob, his sister's son, came running, and took Yaakov in his arms, and kissing him, made him come into his house. And Yaakov gave him news of everything. And Laban said to him, Truly you are my bone and my flesh. And he kept Yaakov with him for the space of a month. Then Laban said to Yaakov, Because you are my brother, you are to be my servant for nothing? Say now, what is your payment to be? Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah's eyes were clouded, but Rachel was fair in face and form. And Yaakov was in love with Rachel, and he said, I will be your servant 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better for you to have her than another man. Go on living here with me. And Yaakov did 7 years of work for Rachel, and because of his love for her, it seemed to him only a very little time. Then Yaakov said to Laban, Give me my wife, so that I may have her, for the days are ended. And Laban got together all the men of the place, and gave a feast. And in the evening he took Leah his daughter, and gave her to him, and he went in to her. And Laban gave Zilpah his servant girl to Leah to be her waiting woman. And in the morning Yaakov saw that it was Leah, and he said to Laban, What have you done to me? Was I not working for you, so that I might have Rachel? Why have you been false to me? And Laban said, In our country we do not let the younger daughter be married before the older. Let the week of the bride feast come to its end, and then we will give you the other in addition, if you will be my servant for another 7 years. And Yaakov did so, and when the week was ended, Laban gave him his daughter Rachel for his wife. And Laban gave Rachel his servant girl Bilhah to be her waiting woman. Then Yaakov took Rachel as his wife, and his love for her was greater than his love for Leah. He went on working for Laban for another 7 years. Now the Lord, seeing that Leah was not loved, gave her a child, while Rachel had no children. And Leah was with child, and gave birth to a son, to whom she gave the name Reuben. For she said, The Lord has seen my sorrow. Now my husband will have love for me. And then she became child again, and gave birth to a son, and said, because it has come to the Lord's ears that I am not loved, he has given me this son in addition. And she gave him the name Shimon. And she was with child again, and gave birth to a son, and said, Now at last my husband will be united to me, because I have given him 3 sons. So he was named Levi. And she was with child again, and gave birth to a son, and she said, This time I will give praise to the Lord. So he was named Yehuda, after she had no more children for a time. Now Rachel, because she had no children, was full of envy of her sister, and she said to Yaakov, If you do not give me children, I will not go on living. But Yaakov was angry with Rachel, and said, Am I in the place of God, who has kept your body from having fruit? Then she said, Here is my servant Bilhah. Go into her, so that she may have a child on my knees, and I may have a family by her. So she gave him her servant Bilhah as a wife, and Yaakov went into her. And Bilhah became with child and gave birth to a son. Then Rachel said, God has been my judge, and has given ear to my voice, and has given me a son. So he was named Dan. And again Bilhah, Rachel's servant, was with child, and gave birth to a second son. And Rachel said, I have had a great fight with my sister, and I have overcome her. And she gave the child the name Naphtali. When it was clear to Leah that she would have no more children for a time, she gave Zilpah, her servant, to Yaakov as a wife. And Zilpah, Leah's servant, gave birth to a son. And Leah said, It has gone well for me, and she gave him the name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's servant, gave birth to a second son, and Leah said, Happy am I, and all women will give witness to my joy. And she gave him the name Asher. Now at the time of the grain cutting, Reuven saw some love fruits in the field, and took them to his mother Leah. And Rachel said to her, Let me have some of your son's love fruits. But Leah said to her, Is it a small thing that you have taken my husband from me? And now would you take my son's love fruits? Then Rachel said, You may have him tonight in exchange for your son's love fruits. In the evening, when Yaakov came in from the field, Leah went out to him and said, Tonight you are to come to me, for I have given my son's love fruits as a price for you. And he went into her that night. And God gave ear to her, and she became with child, and gave Yaakov a fifth son. Then Leah said, God has made payment to me for giving my servant girl to my husband. So she gave her son the name Issachar. And again Leah became with child, and she gave Yaakov a sixth son. And she said, God has given me a good bride price. Now at last will I have my husband living with me, for I have given him 6 sons. And she gave him the name Zebulun. After that she had a daughter, to whom she gave the name Dinah. Then God gave thought to Rachel, and hearing her prayer, he made her fertile. And she was with child, and gave birth to a son. And she said, God has taken away my shame. And she gave him the name Yosef, saying, May the Lord give me another son. Now after the birth of Yosef, Yaakov said to Laban, Let me go away to my place and my country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have been your servant, and let me go. For you have knowledge of all the work I have done for you. And Laban said, If you will let me say so, do not go away, for I have seen by the signs that the Lord has been good to me because of you. Say then what your payment is to be, and I will give it. Then Yaakov said, You have seen what I have done for you, and how your cattle have done well under my care. For before I came you had little, and it has been greatly increased. And the Lord has given you a blessing in everything I have done. But when am I to do something for my family? And Laban said, What am I to give you? And Yaakov said, Do not give me anything, but I will again take up the care of your flock, if you will only do this for me. Let me go through all your flock today, taking out from among them all the sheep which are marked or colored or black, and all the marked or colored goats. These will be my payment. And so you will be able to put my honor to the test in time to come. If you see among my flocks any goats which are not marked or colored, or any sheep which is not black, you may take me for a thief. And Laban said, Let it be as you say. So that day he took all the he-goats which were banded or colored, and all the she-goats which were marked or colored, or had white marks, and all the black sheep, and gave them into the care of his sons, and sent them 3 days' journey away. And Jacob took care of the rest of Laban's flock. Then Jacob took young branches of trees, cutting off the skins so that the white wood was seen in the bands, and he put the banded sticks in the drinking places where the flock came to get water, and they became with young when they came to the water. And because of this the flock gave birth to young which were marked with bands of color. These lambs Jacob kept separate, and he put his flock in a place by themselves, and not with Laban's flock. And whenever the stronger ones of the flock became with young, Yaakov put the sticks in front of them in the drinking places, so that they might become with young when they saw the sticks. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put the sticks before them, so that the feebler flocks were Laban's, and the stronger were Yaakov's. So Yaakov's wealth was greatly increased. He had great flocks, and women servants and manservants, and camels and donkeys. Now it came to the ears of Yaakov that Laban's sons were saying, Yaakov has taken away all our father's property, and in this way he has got all this wealth. And Yaakov saw that Laban's feeling for him was no longer what it had been before. Then the Lord said to Yaakov, Go back to the land of your fathers, and to your relations, and I will be with you. And Yaakov sent for Rachel, and Leah to come to him in the field among his flock. And he said to them, It is clear to me, that your father's feeling is no longer what it was to me. But the God of my father has been with me, and you have seen how I have done all in my power for your father. But your father has not kept faith with me, and 10 times he has made changes in my payment. But God has kept him from doing me damage. If he said, All those in your flock which have marks are to be yours, then all the flocks gave birth to marked young. And if he said, All the banded ones are to be yours, then all the flock had banded young. So God has taken away your father's cattle and given them to me. And at the time when the flock were with young, I saw in a dream that all the he-goats which were joined with the she-goats were banded and marked and colored. And in my dream the angel of the Lord said to me, Yaakov, and I said, Here am I. And he said, See how all the he-goats are banded and marked and colored. For I have seen what Lavan has done to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you put oil on the pillar and took an oath to me. Now then, come out of this land and go back to the country of your birth. Then Rachel and Leah said to him in answer, What part or heritage is there for us in our father's house? Are we not as people from a strange country to him? For he took a price for us, and now it is all used up. For the wealth which God has taken from him is ours and our children's. So now, whatever God has said to you, do. Then Yaakov put his wives and his sons on camels, and sending on before him all his cattle and his property which he had got together in Padan Aram, he made ready to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. Now Lavan had gone to see to the cutting of the wool of his sheep, so Rachel secretly took the images of the gods of her father's house. And Yaakov went away secretly without giving news of his flight to Lavan and the Aramean. So he went away with all he had, and went across the river in the direction of the hill country of Gilead.
So in this reading, we see a lot of the characters of the story really making poor decisions and treating each other poorly simply to get what they want, being dishonest and such. So let's just remember that not every character and every story that's in the Bible is something that we should model our own lives after, but maybe we should take this as a time to see what is happening and how people are treating each other and what's becoming of it. Maybe apply how are ways that we act on a day-to-day basis similar to some of these things. Keep that in mind today as you hopefully have a wonderful day.